Thank you for helping me heal myself.
It's 11 o'clock. Good morning. Welcome to Creative Companions, where we're all believing mirrors for one another. I'm Kim. We're in my creative cave. Really enjoying my new space I have here. So coming to you live from the attic. We're going to gather and create. We play with bubbles today. So let's all get settled. Start right away. Breathing. Let me know you're here. I'm glad you're here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just noticed it says Hill on my sleeve, which is the last name of my daughter now that she got married. This is the House of Hill. So Bonnie gave me the shirt, one of my Bonnies. I'm glad you're here where we're all believing mirrors for one another. Good job showing up for yourself. So we're gonna need our canvas, cardboard, about 8 by 10 in size. I have a square because that's what I can find. So get what you can find to paint on, a surface of some kind, a palette to put your paint on, paint in many different colors, brushes, some paper towels, plenty of water in your paint jar. Why did this just get so dark? There we go. Whoa, that's weird. Can everybody hear me okay today? Let me put my glasses on so I can see better. That'll help. There we go. Okay, how do I do that? I'll be with you here in a second. Just go ahead and start deepening your breath and get comfortable in your space. Gather your things. If you're reading along in the book that we're working on, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, you might want to have your book nearby. Maybe you made some notes this week. Get yourself some water, a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and get ready to spend the next hour together. It's Creative Companions, where we're all believing mirrors for one another. This has been a fun thing, and I really appreciate y'all showing up and watching this work in progress that I am. I just want to remind you, we're all our own guru. I'm just one of you who's healing in front of you and inviting you to heal with me. Learning things together and trying new things and finding ways to open our minds and calm our souls and silence our sensors. Learning to talk to that voice in our head. Learning to be the masters of our own minds, you know. So yeah, so we always start with meditation, which simply begins with the breath. It all starts there. You can start every day right there, just with nice, deep, cleansing breaths. When we write in our morning pages in the morning, we can breathe deeply and feel how that relaxes us. So yeah, in a few minutes we'll start meditation. I'll give you time to gather your things. Oh, bubbles. If you have bubbles, you know, to blow bubbles, bring those. If you don't, it's okay. I had to go on a bubble search myself last night because I announced bring bubbles and then couldn't find my bubbles. After 2 different dollar stores and no bubbles, I did end up with a new bubble gun. So this is going to be fun, a little more than I expected, but let's see if it works. I think you have to I don't know if oh, here it goes. So if you got bubbles, we're going to be making bubbles here in a little while, and that's really fun. To just fill your space with bubbles. They're magic, all the colors. The rainbow bubbles, magic rainbow bubbles. Like really, if you got bubbles, go ahead and blow one and look at them for a minute. They are magic rainbow bubbles. They have all the colors, just like us. We're just rainbows pretending to be humans, yeah? So we're just going to have fun. We don't have to be nervous. It's 11:05, so we're going to go ahead and start with meditation. So wherever you are, become comfortable in your space. Become comfortable in your body. Sit in a position that you're not crossed and holding, but more open. Even pull your shoulder blades together. Sit up nice and straight. If you can, put your feet on the floor if you're sitting in a chair. I have my legs curled like I always do. I guess it's called half lotus. And we just begin by breathing in through the nose and holding it at the top and breathing out through the mouth. As we breathe in, imagine our belly is like one of those bubbles that we're filling with air. And as we breathe in, that bubble grows. And then as we breathe out, we can pull our belly button towards our spine as the bubble deflates. Breathe in, I grow a bubble. Breathe out, I let it go. Breathing in, I blow a bubble. I like that. Breathing out, I let it go. Let your breathing just relax. Now, as we meditate and sit here in silence, I noticed that my finger and thumb came together as my hands rest upward on my knee. Another bubble, another circle I created. So as we breathe in and out, perhaps we notice thoughts coming into our consciousness. Let's see them like bubbles that just float on by. Let them go on the exhale. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, perhaps I create a bubble all the way around me. That feels good. I am the bubble. Exhaling, I set myself free from the bubble. I let it go. Inhaling, expanding, growing the bubble. Exhaling, letting it go. Still. Inhaling, blowing a bubble. Exhaling, letting it go. And sounds around us when we meditate help us relax more. We feel no irritation as we let the bubbles go. We let them go freely, easily, just like our thoughts. Bubbles don't come to stay, they just come to pass. Let them pass, like our thoughts. Breathing in. Grow my bubble bigger to include all of you. Breathing out, I release and let you go. Breathing in, I expand my bubble. Breathing out, I let go. If you haven't closed your eyes, close your eyes and keep breathing in and out, blowing that bubble. And letting it go, letting it float away. Perhaps your bubbles are floating away on blue skies. Perhaps you see a color in your mind's eye. Hold on to that. Breathing in and breathing out. We're going to take this meditation into our creative process today. Thus, we brought bubbles. If you didn't bring bubbles to group today, it's okay. We're going to find a way. Breathing in, expansion. Releasing, breathing out, letting go. Keep breathing. I'm going to read to you now from, keep your eyes closed and breathing. I'm going to read to you from You Can Heal Your Life, Chapter 5, The Remedy, at the end of the chapter. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I now choose calmly and objectively to see my old patterns, and I am willing to make changes. I am teachable. I can learn. I am willing to change. I choose to have fun doing this. I choose to react as though I have found a treasure when I discover something else to release. I see and feel myself changing moment by moment. Thoughts no longer have any power over me. I am the power in my world. I choose to be free. All is well in my world. All is well in my world. Open your eyes. Welcome to the now. Can you say that out loud with me? All is well in my world. All is well in my world. Which has an 1111 in it, by the way. Those L's. Just like the word hill. Look, it's like an 1111. It's hard to point to the right sleeve when I see everything backwards. So mirror, mirror on the wall. You are the fairest after all. I'm glad you're here. Good morning, shiny, happy people. Yes, light and love. Mirror, mirror on the wall. We are blessed after all. Indeed, indeed. So chapter 5, what do we do now? I see my patterns and I choose to make changes. So we've decided that it's okay. We can make changes. Let's grab our art though before we start. As we start, here we are. We've already started, it's yet begun. So we have a piece of cardboard here. Perhaps you did see a color in your mind's eye during that meditation that your bubbles were floating by. For me it was blue, so I'm going to grab the first blue I see, which happens to be kind of a turquoise. I'm going to go with that. So whatever color it was that you happened to see as we were meditating there, start with that and just give yourself a small blob, because if you're painting with acrylics, we do not need much paint. We're going to use water, and we can always add more paint to our palette at any time. Waste not, want not, and all that. A little white with whatever color you have. Don't mix them. Put them in different spots on your palette. Okay? Don't mix them together right now. So we have a little white and a little... And why do we do a creative project during Creative Companions every week? Well, it's to free that part of us that wants to be creative. It's to go with the flow. Like, I don't give you guys any idea, really, what we're going to do today. And so you must have an open mind and be trusting and willing to follow me along. And as we do this thing together. And though we do this thing as a group, it's a very individual process that we're doing here, getting to know ourselves better. So each of our art that we create looks different. We create on cardboard and with whatever tools we have in our house, just to show our creative self that we don't have to wait till we have the perfect things to do the thing. We can do things that make us feel good with very little things. Like right now I'm playing with a ball of paint that I picked off my palette that dried from last time, which is something my artist self really likes doing, this peeling the paint off the palette and then making little balls out of it. So, you know, it's all ritual. So you just grab a brush that you like, a big one, make it fun. We're just going to cover this canvas first with a quickness with that color that spoke to us during our meditation. Let's use a lot of water today. I don't know if you're using watercolors. I'm even going to try just wetting my cardboard a little bit to start. Why? Because I never did that before. Why? So why do I want to do that? Because I always want to be doing something I never did before. Give myself a different starting point and see what happens now. You know? So I'm going to take that. Ooh, look at that. I really like how that moves when I add more water and it kind of gets kind of fuzzy looking. I'm going to keep my strokes going the same direction here. You do you. Add as much water as you like, but let's just get that cardboard covered completely with that beautiful color that you dreamed of during our beautiful meditation just then. Oh yeah, and remember to keep breathing. So did y'all write in your journals and do some morning pages this week? Morning pages are just 3 pages of brain drain before the sensor gets time to take hold, before the negative voice starts chattering at you. Just grab your journal in the morning and write 3 pages. If all you can write is that negative chatter, because that's all you can hear, write it down. Because we're starting to identify that voice in our head and what it's saying. And this is one way that we do, is through our meditation. Look, I think that looks pretty cool. I like how cardboard keeps its lines and stuff. I'm even going to run a little more water on here now. So yeah, so if you haven't tried morning pages, I encourage you to do so. This is one way we get to know ourselves better. I want to resist the urge to create anything circular right now. So if you have, it's okay. But we're going to do that in a second. I just want to make sure. Okay, there we go. I'm going to let that dry now for a few. So morning pages, I do those every day. It's how I know myself. I wrote some poems this week that were pretty funny about me and the fact that I don't have a piece of paper that says I can meditate with y'all or talk about yoga or anything. I have a piece of paper that says I'm an artist somewhere back in time. There was a degree, you see, but I don't need that to be me, and I'm just me here, Kimmy Sue, showing up, doing what I do. So we're on chapter 5, which is, what do we do now? What do we do now, Kimmy Sue? Well, we decide to change. I see my patterns and I choose to make changes. Throwing up our hands in horror at what we may call the mess of our lives and just giving up are the ways many people react at this point in their creative recovery. I'm reading to you from the book now. Others get angry and give up. What does giving up mean? Well, by giving up, I mean deciding it's all hopeless and impossible to make changes anyway, so why try? Just stay the way you are. At least you know how to handle that pain. You don't like it, but it's familiar, so you just hope it won't get any worse and keep doing things the same way you do them. Louise says, to me, habitual anger is like sitting in a corner with a dunce hat on. Something happens and you get angry. Something happens and you get angry. Something else happens and you get angry again. Something else happens and you get angry again. Something else happens and you get angry. But you never go beyond getting angry. So what good does that do? It'd be much more helpful to ask yourself, how are you creating so many situations to get angry? What are you believing that causes all these frustrations? And I was at this point real recently with this move I made. Though it was a move I wanted to do, I kept getting angry. So what was I believing that was causing all those frustrations? That I can't have what I want. That I can't have what I want. That's what I was believing. So then where did that come from? Why are you allowing others to irritate you so much? Why are you giving them that much power? Why are you wanting to stay in that place of irritation? Man, these are hard questions. Why do you believe that in order to get your way, you need to get angry and throw a fit. Ooh. So there's your child work. You know, whatever you give out comes back to you. The more anger you give out, the more you are creating situations for you to get angry at. Are you getting angry at what I'm saying? Good. Then this is something you must be willing to change. You must become willing to change. You must make a decision just to be willing. If you've done any recovery work or AA, you know that's one of the steps. I just become willing to change. So if you want to know how stubborn you really are, approach that idea. Ask yourself, am I willing to change? And then hear all the resistance that comes up. You know, we all want to have our lives changed. We want the situation to become easier and better. We want them to change to make it easier for us. But that's not how it works. We have to change inside. We must change our way of thinking, our way of speaking, our way of expressing ourselves. Only then will outer changes occur. Does that sound like a lot of work? It can be fun. Remember, we said we're going to make these changes with fun. Okay? So get your bubbles if you got them. I'm going to blow bubbles right onto my canvas and see what happens. What if I make them further away? It's not doing what I thought it would, which is good, because what we're trying to do is give ourselves a starting place on this painting where we never started before. So some bubbles stuck, and I'm going to let that sit for a minute. And then I'm going to so what I want you to do is, we're looking at those circle shapes, and maybe even just spend a minute breathing in and out, staring at your canvas, watching those bubbles. Man, mine are holding strong. They're not popping or going away. So maybe those are the good ideas, the ones that stay. Those are the ones we'll keep today. The ideas that make us feel good, the thoughts that make us feel good, the ones that serve us well, the ones that point us in the direction that we want to go. And we know those thoughts when we have them. We feel it with all of us, with all of our being, with each and every one of us, when I say all of us. So I still got bubbles here. So I am going to try to tilt this camera so you can watch what I'm doing, just to give you an idea. So I'm going to take, let's put this up here too, my palette and my white paint here. Let's turn it around. Okay, so my white, my filming of my Creative Companions is another example. Use what you got. So I got, this brush is really not at all what I'm looking for. When that happens, give yourself time. We're not in a hurry. Get the brush that feels better to you. I'm looking for one that comes to a little point, maybe. There's no hurry, no worry. We got all day. We got all the time. Okay, time isn't real. So I have a tiny little brush now, and I'm going to add some water to it. I'm going to spin it around in this white paint to make it as pointy as possible. And I'm going to just experiment now. I'm going to go to one of my bubbles here, and I'm going to trace it. Oh, see, it popped when I touched it, but that's okay. I'm just going to trace it. Let's go trace this one. And I'm going to do this, and oh, that's fun, because it kind of moves the bubble itself. I'm going to do this till my paintbrush runs out of paint, which will make the bubbles lighter and lighter as they go. I just watched one pop over there, though, and I want to make sure that I get this big one. Now, my bubble shapes are kind of staying there even after the bubbles pop, which is cool. So, yeah, right now, just go around, however that works for you, just see what happens. If you don't have bubbles, perhaps you could put some paint on the end of your nose to make perfect circles, because that's what we're looking for. And you just paint the end of your nose white and then touch that to the canvas. I don't know, we're looking for randomness. So if you don't have bubbles, maybe you have dish soap that you could squeeze the bottle and some bubbles would come out. And the thing is, we have circles of all different sizes here. We had no idea what was going to happen when we squirted out these bubbles. I've never done this before. this idea just occurred to me. I don't know where it came from. You know. And that's another reason why we meditate. It gives us time to be quiet. And then we might have things we never thunk before that excite us. It's the only time we can hear ourselves. You know? Can you really hear yourself think? Or are you just having habitual thoughts? Oh, that gets on my nerves. I can't take it anymore. Those kind of thoughts. You know, we're recognizing that. Wow, this is fun. So just enjoy this process and like go around your bubbles. And then we'll do this for a little while and then we'll do something else. But this is fun. And just letting that paint come off your brush until you're like no longer making a mark. It's really nice. So quiet in here. So peaceful in here. We use affirmations. We learn to use our affirmations in our morning pages, and then perhaps when, you know, we're stuck in traffic or something, we hear ourselves saying them. It's fun to have a whole bunch of them on hand. You know, like you're standing in line and instead of getting irritated, I can meditate, right? No need to be irritated when we can meditate. So we're learning new stuff. So I hope you're enjoying the process of tracing your bubbles. I like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm going to read and see what's next, though. So we become willing to make a change. These bubbles are showing us that. We don't have to paint the same way we always did. So we see how stubborn we are. Even now sometimes, and I'm reading from the book again, but I could say these words myself. Louise Hay is saying them, though. Even now sometimes when I decide to make a change in my life, this stubbornness can come to the surface. And my resistance to changing my thinking is strong. And I can temporarily become self-righteous, angry, and withdrawn, which are not attractive qualities. I watched myself do it recently. So this still goes on after all these years. It's one of the patterns I'm willing to change. I know I'm hitting on an important one every time I decide to make a change in my life to release something else. I know that I'm going ever deeper into myself to do this. So each old layer must give way in order to be replaced with something new. So when you identify an old layer, an old pattern, an old thought that you have been living by, that you've been continuing to think even though it's not true, then that's thought that's ruling you, and you decide that you want to let it go, there's no need to be angry at yourself about it for having thunk it for so long or whatever you're angry about. You know, we can get past that. Yeah. So each old layer must give way in order to be replaced with new thinking. The more tenaciously I hold on to an old belief when I say I want to make a change, the more I know this is an important one for me to release. It's only by learning these things that I can teach others. Being the observer of ourselves and, you know, watching our resistance come up. The main difference between the way I used to work at releasing beliefs and the way I do it today is that now I don't have to be angry at myself in order to do so. I no longer choose to believe that I'm a bad person just because I find something else to change within me. Did you hear that? I'm talking to myself. This is Louise Hay talking to Kimmy Sue. I no longer choose to believe that I am a bad person just because I find something else to change within me. So we do mental work, and that work we call house cleaning. Mental house cleaning. And that's what we're doing with these bubbles. Are you still making bubbles? Are you still breathing? Breathing out, fill up your bubbles. You can do that whole page. Just keep going. Yes. I'm trying to see the time here. Okay, there it is. Everything looks different every week to me. All right, just keep making those bubbles. So the mental work we do now is called, let's call it house cleaning. Louise, I'm going to read to you what she says. I go through my mental rooms and examine the thoughts and beliefs in them. Some of those thoughts I love, so I polish and shine them and make them even more useful. Some I notice need replacement or repair, and I get it around to them as I can. Some are like yesterday's newspapers and old magazines or clothing that's no longer suitable. These I either give away or toss into the trash, and I let them be gone forever. It's not necessary for me to be angry or to feel I'm a bad person in order to do this. So let's use this affirmation. I am willing to change. Repeat this often. I am willing to change. I am willing to change. Maybe do that with me now. She says you can touch your throat as you do that. The throat is the energy center in the body where change takes place. By touching your throat, you're acknowledging you're in the process of changing. I am willing to change. Be willing to allow the changes to happen when they come up in your life. Be aware that where you do not want to change may be where you need to change most. Just become willing. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to change. The universal intelligence is always responding to your thoughts and words. Things will definitely begin to change as you make these statements on the regular. I'm willing to change. Let's continue to make bubbles for a little while longer. I'm going to make a few more. So there's many ways you can make changes. You can start with the spiritual approach or the mental approach or the physical approach. Holistic healing includes them all. It doesn't matter where you start. You know, and with this creative recovery that we do, I believe that it heals all areas of our being to honor our creative self and learn to make that a regular practice. And thus it affects, you know, it's a trigger to the self that I care about you enough to allow you to express yourself exactly as you want to today, in this moment. And we also meditate to come to now. Why? Now's all we got, folks. It's the only thing that's real. Everything else is imagined. When we're thinking about the future, when we're thinking about the past, it's just our imagination station at work. We're bringing that future or past into reality via our thoughts, because why? Our thoughts are magic. Our thoughts have power. I am safe in the now. I am here now. It's good to be here now. Started, you know, with this move and seeing that it put a hitch in my giddy up. What do I do about it? I hunker down on my self-care. I find myself waking up in the mornings, making sure that my thoughts are in a line with how I want to feel. I am thankful for today. I'm thankful to still be here now, to experience life. I'm grateful that I'm here with you now, being me in a way that only I can be, and you're being you. Together in the sea of we, one. Oh, I really like this process with the bubbles. I hope you're enjoying it too. If you have used bubbles and your bubbles have dried up and you would like more bubbles to trace, then, well, of course, blow more bubbles. Just blow them right there. We just fill the world with bubbles. It's one of the things I like about doing festivals. There's always bubbles in the air, you know? So I guess if you're feeling blue, get yourself a bubble machine and put some bubbles in the air. Oh, whoa. I wasn't looking, and look what happened. I got a really big bunch of bubbles there. So I can trace some bigger ones now. Oh, how fun. Pop. I'm going to pop that one. And my foot's going to sleep. Remember when we're meditating, we're also wanting to be comfortable in our bodies. And if we get uncomfortable, don't focus on it and get angry. Just move and breathe. And find another comfortable spot. Okay? We don't have to be nervous. We're just going to have fun. Oh, there's bubbles all over my computer now, too. So grateful. Yes, so grateful for that. Everything came to pass as it has, and here we are. Ways we can change. Just think of a few of them. When you begin to clean your house, it really doesn't matter which room you start in. Just begin in the area that appeals to you most. The others will happen all by themselves. You notice that when you decide to clean your bedroom in your house. You do that, and then you walk into the kitchen and go, oh, well, I guess I'll do that too. You know? And it feels good to do your house cleaning. Maybe we tell ourselves something different. I don't want to clean the house. I don't want to clean my mental house. That sounds like work. It doesn't sound like fun. Well, we're cleaning our mental house right now by being here and being in the moment and breathing and playing with bubbles. So it can be fun. And man, Jody Kay passed away. She was one of my besties, and I spent a lot of years with her, and I learned a lot from Jody. And you know, you might show up at her house on a Saturday, and it's the day she's decided to clean her house. But man, she cleans her house like a badass. Like she's wearing a cape and the yellow gloves and like the Wonder Woman underwear, and she got a spray bottle over here and a fancy purple duster over here, and she's gonna clean every nook and cranny, and the music's turned up loud, and it's gonna be a fun day, and she's probably eating candy while she's doing it. But man, I learned a lot from her. So yeah, introduce fun into your day. Get out the bubbles. You know, you might say, well, I don't have any children in my life. Be the child. You're the child. Oh, I really like what happens when I just smear around with a little bit of paint in the bubble stuff. Like right there, get in there and like swirl it. Oh, that's going to look so fluid. I am digging this process. We might have discovered something here, guys. So, yeah, just let your bubbles go. And make some bubbles. Keep making circles. We're going to do something else with them here eventually, but right now just keep doing that. I'm going to do this whole spot. So yeah, one level leads to the next. One bubble leads to the next. We don't get caught up in the bubbles. We don't cry because that bubble broke, because there's always more bubbles coming, and we make the bubbles. So we become conscious when we're cleaning the mental house after a lifetime of indulging in mental thoughts. It's a bit like going on a good nutritional program after a lifetime of indulging in junk food. Right? They both can often create healing crises. As you begin to change your physical diet, the body begins to throw off the accumulation of toxic residue. And as this happens, you can feel rather rotten for a few days. So it is when you make a decision to change the mental thought patterns. Your circumstances can begin to seem worse for a while. It's only because you're listening now to yourself. Just keep doing the new affirmations, and soon you will have totally cleared an old limitation. So we've decided we're willing to change, and we will use any and all methods that work for us. Let me describe one of the methods I use with myself and with others, says Louise. But we'll get to that in a minute. I got to get back to my bubbles. So yeah, just because you recognize that there's something to change, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. I don't like the idea that there's something wrong with all of us, and that we look at ourselves and others from that perspective and diagnose ourselves and one another. That's judging. Let us not judge, especially right now when we're making bubbles. Please don't judge your artist self and whether you're good at making these round circles or not. Sometimes my paint goes on really heavy. Sometimes it goes on really thin. I'm just letting whatever happens happen. See there? I'm not trying to dry where it's wet. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just doing the thing. There is no try, only do or do not. That's it. So I'm just doing the thing. Until I'm not. Until I move on to the next thing. Here now. Stay here with me now. All the magic happens in the now, y'all. Present moment. It can only happen now. Or now. Or now. Can't happen then. right? Your experience is in the now. Man, your bubbles could turn into clouds. But, okay, so what are we going to do next with these bubbles? What are we going to do next with these bubbles on this canvas? Well, I'll tell you. All the colors, okay? Because we talked about how at the beginning there, when we blow those bubbles, they're magic bubbles. They're magic rainbow bubbles. They're made of all the colors. Did you see it? As it flashed by, man, you can see all the colors in the rainbow in a bubble, right? So, what colors are in the rainbow? Red and yellow, and pink and green, purple and orange and blue. I can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow too. So pull out all the colors of the rainbow. That's what I'm doing. Red and yellow. I don't know why that says pink. I'm not going to use pink. Maybe that means purple. And green. Red and yellow and pink and green. Purple and orange and blue. Okay. So, there's all my rainbow colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like there's one missing. We have white already on there. And you're just going to need a little dot of each one of those colors on your palette. Let me show you. Just a tiny dot. Maybe you have an idea what I'm going to do now. You can make little shapes. Well, let's get our palette loaded first. Sometimes I put the paint on the palette in a certain order, but, you know, I don't want to think that hard today. I'm just going to squirt a little bit of each one of the colors of the rainbow on there. Take some deep breaths. Take the deepest one you've taken all day. Let it out slow. Did you find yourself feeling like you need to hurry up? Did you find yourself thinking a lot? Did you find yourself just making bubbles and listening? That's the other thing. We're always practicing the art of listening. So we can always work on that. We can always be better listeners. We can always just breathe and be the observer. Listen to the sounds around us. That brings us more to the now. You know, and winter's coming here in the northern parts. Well, winter's coming all over America. But up north here, people start to suffer from seasonal affect disorder. And things can get pretty dark when you don't see the sun a lot. And it affects you, you know. So what things can we do to feel better? Well, we put a lot of things in our toolkit here at Creative Companions that hopefully that you'll pull out and use. And one I thought of today that we did as a journal prompt a few weeks back was to simply, in your journal, as you're writing and moving your hand across the page and keeping the hand moving for 3 pages, you describe your now, what you can see, what you can hear, the quality of the air you can feel touching your skin. And this helps to bring us to the delicious present moment. Full of wonder. I can hear music. I can hear crickets. It's Bonnie Raitt, I think. I can hear. Far away. Oh, look what I can see in my now. Lots of colors. My art around me. Yeah. So we got all the colors on our palette now. We've calmed ourselves down and slowed our breath. I'm going to pick a different brush now. Another small one. I don't know. Alright, so this little one. And I'm going to put this again so that you can see my palette and my canvas. And this may be a painting that maybe we bring it back next week and do some more on it. What I like to do now, with, again, a little water on my brush, is you know how like in those magic rainbow bubbles, we could see all the colors. So let's start with yellow. I'm going to take a little yellow and a little white on my brush, and I'm going to start with one of these bigger bubbles, and I'm just going to make a little boop. That's all. So maybe let's just, while the yellow's on the brush, go around and just put a half little moon of yellow on your bubbles. until your brush runs out of paint. We're not going all the way around the bubble. And you can make the tiniest shape. Whatever you do it how you do it. And they're all different, you know? Because they're spinning and flowing on the breeze. As the light hits them differently, different colors show up, you know? If you really want to observe some bubbles before you do this, just to give yourself an idea, sometimes it makes like a rectangular shape because the light's coming in through a window. So that's enough of the yellow. Now I'm going to just take a little orange. I'm going to mix it with my yellow that I have there, just so that it's lighter. I guess you're not seeing now. I could use a videographer, right? Oh, there we go. So right here, I just mixed a little yellow, a little of my orange, just so I don't want it that dark as the like oranges. And I'm just going to do the same with that. Is just I'm going to put it right beside the yellow there. A little boop. Not much. You know, and my bubbles are still wet. I could like do some edge work if I wanted. Whatever edge work, you know, make it sound fancy. I'm edging the edges of the bubble where they meet the atmosphere that is the blue background. And it makes a delicious mixture of yellow and let's add some red now. Now, red and yellow and pink it, my song says. But so I'm making pink. Gonna make a little pink there. And we're gonna continue with the roundness. We're just continuing with the roundness. You see? You get the idea, yeah? So maybe put all the colors in all the bubbles, man, and you go, oh, but I have so many bubbles on here. That's going to take forever. Forever. Nothing takes forever. It doesn't take forever. It takes as long as it takes. And when you're working on a piece of art, you may have this session right here, right now, and then the doorbell might ring and you get called away, or the dog needs you, or the child needs you. You can come back to this process again and again and again over the week and keep working at the same canvas and see what happens. Doing art gives us a place to rest. You know, we can rest our thinking mind and just make bubbles. We can rest because in order to do this art, we have to stay in this space right here, right now. We have to stick with it. We have to stay with ourselves. We have to stay with this canvas, with this paint, here now. You have to listen to my words if you want to do this creative project how I'm suggesting. So we're also practicing that art of listening, which is something to think about. Am I a good listener? I could be a better listener, I'm sure. I'm positive of that. So listening is something to work on as well. So as you see, we're just going to add all the colors to the bubbles. And that's the light reflecting in them. Oh man, this is going to look so sweet. Look at that. So I've never done this process before. I'm totally loving it. Aren't you? It's so fun. All right, so I'm going to read to you a little more from Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life and see what she has to say. Oh, Danny's noticing my mom is back there. I have done more work, and it's going to grow all winter long, but I have another blank canvas, and they're going to show up again over there. So if you know, you know. Okay, so one way we work on ourselves and work on making changes, Louise calls mirror work. So first we go look in the mirror and say to ourselves, look ourselves dead in the eye and say, I am willing to change. And for me, these creative companions, I realize, these live feeds I do, are mirror work for me big time. You all are such good believing mirrors for me, but also in my physical reality right now, I see only my own face on my laptop. I'm looking myself pretty much dead in the eye and saying all this, which is so validating, and my medicine weekly to make sure I'm on that path I want to be on. So go look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm willing to change, and then notice how you feel. If you're hesitant or resistant or just don't want to, ask yourself why. What old belief are you holding on to? Don't scold yourself. Just notice. Remember to breathe while you do this. We're always finding ways to be more gentle with ourselves, and breathing through things is one way we are. It helps us to slow down. So don't scold yourself. I bet that belief has been causing you a lot of trouble. Where did it come from? Do you know? Whether we know where it came from or not, just dissolve it now. And see it like a bubble. You know? I'm not good enough. Whatever that thought is that has been holding you back, you know which one. See it in that bubble, just floating away. Now, again, go to the mirror and look in your eyes and touch your throat this time and say out loud 10 times, I'm willing to release all resistance. 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 I'm willing to release all resistance to change. I'm willing to release all resistance. I'm willing to release all resistance. 10 times. Say it 10 times. Say it 10 times every day. Mirror work is very powerful. I'm reading to you now what Louise said. So this is profound to me. As children, we received most of our negative messages from others looking us straight in the eye and perhaps shaking a finger at us. Whenever we look into the mirror today, most of us will say something negative to ourselves. We either criticize our looks or berate ourselves for something. To look yourself straight in the eye and make a positive declaration about yourself is, in my opinion, the quickest way to get results with affirmations. So think about that. And think about that if you're a parent. You look in your kid in the eye, are you shaking your finger at them, or are you looking in them in the eye and giving them love? I realized a long time ago that, where is it? Where's that hair I had hanging down? There was something I wanted to tell you. So this hair, my hair has become quite, oh, there's the white one. This is so hard to do because it's backwards. Mirror, mirror on the wall. I'm the fairest after all. I and I, you are me, and I am you. I used to look in the mirror and say some really negative things to myself. And I don't anymore. I don't. I wasn't able to, where is that? There's supposed to be a hair on this side too down, but I can't find it because it's backwards. But yeah, so we don't have to go back there. Just keep making colors, letting those negative thoughts go. No, you're beautiful just like these bubbles, and you're all the colors of the rainbow. We're all just rainbows pretending to be humans. It's the energy. We are energy and light is made up of all of the colors. All of the colors. I love you for being here. I love you for showing up for yourself. I love you for making bubbles. I look forward to adding more color to my bubbles. I'm going to do that for a few moments here, and let's just be quiet and breathe and make bubbles together and add all the colors to your bubbles. Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Just breathing in and out, silencing any thoughts. Let's just breathe for this final meditation together. You may not finish this piece right now. You may come back to it. Maybe anytime you're feeling stressed, you can come back to this and just make some more bubbles. I think it'll relax you. I think it'll help you take on the day. I said be quiet. Don't hold your breath. It's so pretty. I really, really, really like this process. I need some green now. All the colors, just back and forth between the colors, all the colors. You know, think about that we're made up of all the colors, and it takes all the colors to heal us. So when we paint, we can work with all the colors. Color therapy, if you will. Call it what you want. I call it fun. That which I do, which is good for me, is good for all, and that's convenient because I love you so much, and I want you to feel good. I want you to be happy. I want you to express yourself as only you can do, because there's only one of you. Allowing yourself to show up, to grab your instrument every day, whatever that is, however you like to express yourself. Only you can do it your way. So if you're a writer, write. If you're a singer, sing. If you're a dancer, dance. If you're a painter, paint. If you don't know what you are, well, you're going to go far. You're a shining star. Won't it be fun finding out? It is fun finding out. You never know what you can do until you try. Right? All right. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Filling up the bubbles. Letting them go. I'm going to read to you now. To close this session of Creative Companions, I'm reading to you again. Chapter 5. Ending meditation. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I now choose calmly and objectively to see my old patterns, and I'm willing to make changes. I am teachable. I can learn. I am willing to change. I choose to have fun doing this. I choose to react as though I have found a treasure when I discover something else to release. I see and feel myself changing in this moment. Moment to moment, breath to breath. Thoughts no longer have any power over me. I am the power in my world, and I choose to be free. All is well in my world. All is well in my world. Keep breathing, y'all. All right, so this week, looking forward, we're going to be reading Chapter 6, Resistance to Change. We're going to talk about the ways we resist. I'm going to ask you to also read Chapter 7. These chapters are short, so let's do 2 chapters at a time this time. Because we're also going to be probably 2 weeks till I see you next. So Chapter 7, How to Change. Let's read both Chapter 6 and 7. Resistance to Change and How to Change. And perhaps during the reading of these 2 chapters, we continue with our bubble art. And let's bring it back with us. You can always blow more bubbles, kids. It's sure been fun hanging out with you again. I believe in you. I love you. I know you can do the thing that your heart wants to do. You know, show yourself how much you appreciate you by continuing to show up for you. That's the best you can do for you. Show up and accept yourself just exactly as you are. That's something I write in my journal. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Treating myself as a precious object makes it so. Remember that, y'all. Treat yourself as a precious object as you take yourself forward into this day and beyond. Shine the best version of you can shine. I love you. Thanks for hanging out and making bubbles.